Hey, there's no shame in trying things that people ain't never tried before.
If you're already a subscriber, you know why I'm such a Titanfall fan. Besides Respawn sitting up on Mount Olympus with Rockstar as god-tier developers, Titanfall 2 is a delicious onion with layers, baby. Layered gameplay. Titanfall 2 is, from the ground up, fascinating. In one breath, it is a fast-paced twitch shooter with an excellent, exciting movement system and depth in every one of its abilities. And in another breath, a slower, more deliberately paced class shooter in the form of its titular Titans, who fall for the second time now. I could sit here and talk about why Titanfall 2 is the best shooter on the market for days. I could give Respawn the old Hercular jerk forever. But unfortunately, other YouTubers have beaten me to the punch. But I am not an advocate of dead equine abuse. I have other dead horses and meat to beat, so I'll get right into what I want to talk about. Which is Titanfall 2's Titans and pilots, the interplay between them, how they interact, and specifically how pilots are designed and how that influences the game overall. And Respawn's new high TTK or high time to kill modes. Which, if I'm right and my assumptions are correct, is how they're planning or toying with designing pilots in Titanfall 3. Which I'm very excited about. But let's start with how pilots work in Titanfall 2 right now. Well, they're very nimble, but they're also very fragile. They die quickly, like other characters in twitch shooters. There is enormous room to outplay and outmaneuver thanks to the movement system, but the high times to kill are still there. Like COD and any other comparable twitch shooter, it doesn't take many bullets to put someone in the dirt. Playing on foot is super dangerous and risky, especially when compared to the Titans. On foot, you don't even get a second to think and save your ass. If somebody gets line of sight on you, catches you out, you are dead. That's why I don't like COD or twitch shooters in general, really, Titanfall being a large exception, because of the deep movement, because of the Titans. But I'll tell you a quick shooter I am a big fan of and have been for years. Halo. Ugh, I can feel the PC Master Race bearing down on me, but let me explain. Halo 5 is the quickest in the entire series, but even it is slower than your average twitch shooter. Skirmishes are only a few seconds longer, but those few seconds make a huge difference. Because a guy 5 miles away can't put you down in 2 shots the moment he sees you. And even if you're up close, you aren't gonna get instantly creamed and steamrolled by somebody just because they spotted you first. A good player in every Halo game can still win a fight even if he doesn't get the first shot, and that's why I like it so much. I can play Halo with bigger balls than I can a normal twitch shooter, because I know winning is more reliant on fighting than line of sight. It's more about what happens in the fight than how you set up and approach the fight, if that makes any sense. And that contributes to Halo's overall higher TTK, time to kill. Fights take longer in Halo. And that higher TTK is why I like Titanfall so much over COD and other twitch shooters, because there is a higher TTK. But it's achieved through high maneuverability and Titans, not Halo's higher health. Fights can and do take longer, but pilots are still fragile, and you can still die instantly, at any time. And while this does work, and works well, even if they could change it, I don't know if I'd want them to, it limits how Titans and pilots can work together, cooperate. Right now, they feel very distinct and separate. Titans feel like vehicles and a completely different plane of play. And they are. Titans and pilots are on completely separate playing fields, and interaction between them, especially conflict, feels a bit stiff. Or at least not as fluid. Not as fluid as Titans fighting Titans, and certainly not as fluid as pilots fighting pilots. When you're fighting pilot to Titan, you're just whittling them down from a range, trying not to get hit with the big thing that'll take you out in 1 or 2 hits. And when you're Titan to pilot, it's like trying to kill a mosquito spider. You can kill it because you have the force, but number 1, and number 2, it's kinda difficult. Which, on both ends, is the point, and it allows both layers of gameplay to coexist in a way that works, and I respect that, I appreciate that, I enjoy that, and if that's what Titanfall 3 has to be, I'll be happy. But if you pitched me Titanfall without any prior knowledge, I would envision a completely different game. Titanfall 2 in its current state is 2 separate and competitive, deep layers of gameplay, arguably completely separate games in and of themselves, with a bit of interplay between. Titans don't feel like entities as much as they feel like rides to a different arena, with a different set of rules. But again, if you pitched it to me, that's not what I would envision. I would envision a cooperative experience between pilots and Titans, where pilots are equipped for one job and Titans are equipped for another, and working together they complete both of their jobs and achieve a larger goal. This shit right here, the Become One trailer, and especially the segment in the intro segment where a Titan is carrying farming goods, it all really erects the old robo-boner and gets the engine just a-firing on all cylinders, my guy. While I enjoy layered gameplay, different gameplay styles in the same ring, I particularly like when they build on each other and support each other to create a much larger game as a whole. Sorta like Lost Planet 3, where your rig isn't just another form of gameplay, but rather a tool and a utility. You were encouraged to use both your rig and your player character in tandem to achieve much greater things. And it was super cool, the game was much better because of it. And as cool as this trailer is, how often are you actually playing as a pilot while your Titan is down in Titanfall 2? Never. Because your Titan and your pilot don't build on each other. Your Titan is just a bigger damage dealer, a better killer than your pilot. If you try to fight alongside your Titan outside, you are at a disadvantage, because even with the enhanced AI chip for your Titan, it is still not operating as well as you would in its cockpit. And further, your health is so low, you are so fragile as a pilot that you can die in an instant, and then your Titan is left alone in a substandard state. And inevitably it gets blown to hell, and then you're set super far behind, so you need to be in the cockpit if your Titan is down. There isn't any room for Titan and pilot cooperating gameplay. The game just isn't designed for them to work together like that. They are built separately for a reason, and it works. For right now, it works, and if this is what Titanfall Forever is going to look like, that's fine. It works. I'd much rather have this than not have it at all. But if Titanfall was designed for pilots and Titans to cooperate, there would need to be a few key changes to how everything worked, one of which being pilot sturdiness. Pilots would need to have more health so they wouldn't be disincentivized from walking around on foot while their Titan is on the ground. There would need to be a higher TTK, higher time to kill on foot, so pilots wouldn't be trapped in their Titans, and that would allow Titans to fill more of a supportive role, or a variety of different roles, rather than just big gun kill machines. And hey howdy hey, that's exactly what they're doing. Respawn is experimenting with high TTK mode, which does exactly that, raises the time to kill, giving pilots more breathing room on foot, opening skirmishes up, allowing for combat to last longer. It's not much longer, but it's a few seconds longer, and we already know a few seconds can make a big difference. Now, in its current state, high TTK sort of breaks the game because it gives pilots a strange advantage because not only do they have higher health, but they also have their movement abilities on top of it. So not only are they spongier, but they're also harder to hit, and that makes taking on multiple pilots almost impossible unless you're carrying a sidearm. And that brings us back to Titanfall, as it's built now, is not designed for pilots to have a lot of health. So as a mode, I don't see high TTK having much sticking power. But as an experiment, this is very valuable. This lets us, the players, toy with beefier pilots and pull off shit we couldn't in standard Titanfall. It allows us to imagine and toy with tastes of strategies, much like mods in Skyrim. Link to the video where I talk about that stuff. And it allows Respawn to imagine and toy with a future Titanfall game with reimagined mechanics, perhaps with beefier pilots and utility titans, or support titans, or any specific role titans, really. Anything beyond the standard Titanfall loop of small, quick killmen into big, slow killmen. And that's my overall point. It only took us 11 minutes to get there. High TTK isn't just a mode, and you shouldn't just brush it off. Respawn wouldn't have put this in the game if they didn't have ideas, if they weren't experimenting. High TTK is a good opportunity for us to experiment with them, try out new strategies, find new metas, get ideas for what works and what doesn't, and then let Respawn as developers build on that. Changes in the pilot scene drastically change the Titan scene, and that's what I'm excited about because personally, as much as I love the momentum and movement systems, I prefer the Titans, honestly. But if it was just the Titans, it would suck, because then you've only got one layer of gameplay, and one layer is boring, especially when you can do multiple layers well, and we know Respawn can, because they have. In TTK, a pilot change, I see the potential for a Titan change, and in that Titan change, I see my dream mech game. The game in which humans and their robots are conquering the same goal from different angles, supporting one another. And that just sounds super fun and comfy. And I know comfy isn't the word you'd expect to hear thrown around in a game like Titanfall 2, but Titanfall 2, in its current state, despite its hecticness, is comfy. And I'm always looking to be more comfy, my guy, you know that. But what do you think, my guys? Would you like to... Oh, that sounded very odd. That was my voice a little higher and more nasally than I think it's ever gone. Good lord. But what do you think, baby boys? Would you mind sacrificing movement for higher health so you could walk around on the ground while your Titan is around doing his own thing? As much as I like the idea, I don't know if I'd actually want to give up the movement system. But again, what do you think? Do you think there's a way to balance it? Which would you prefer? And what do you think of utility and support titans? Monarch is pretty cool because she can give people shields, but I never find myself using her, especially not as a support. How do you think a strictly support or strictly utility titan would fit into Titanfall? And do you know of any good mech games in which there are good on-foot mechanics or cooperation mechanics between robots and their pilots, or mechs and their pilots, excuse me? I'm very interested to hear if anybody knows anything about that one, because I've been combing for that for a long time. That about wraps everything up, baby boy. Hope you enjoyed, because I certainly enjoyed making it. Like if you enjoyed, because that helps me out a lot. Subscribe if you haven't, because we do this shit more than weekly. You look at my backlog of videos, Sonny, and I have stuff at least twice a week. We have a good time. And comment your thoughts, because I love hearing from you. Especially something like this, high TTK. Ooh, there's a lot of potential here for cool new stuff down the line. I'd love to hear what you think. And did everything sound clear? Did everything make sense? I felt like I was rambling a bit on this one, but that might just be because I've been listening to this constantly, so I'm not really sure. But thanks again for watching, everybody. We have a lot of fun on this channel. You go to a gas station, you bring your fun cup, and you get a bunch of fun dispensed in your large fun gulp. That's how much fun we have on this channel, with free refills. And I look forward to having you in the future.